Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. So good to see y'all, family, here in the new year. Shout out to everybody who made it into the new year, everybody who made it into 2024, and sending love and condolences and peace to anybody who didn't make it into 2024. It is an absolute blessing to be here as we fight and continue to fight for the liberation of our people. It says new year, but it's the same struggle. So we're going to keep building. We're going to keep struggling. We're going to keep organizing. We're going to keep figuring stuff out. So I'm just overjoyed to be here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel with y'all. We starting the new year off with a bang. And right before the end of the year, just yesterday, day before yesterday, I saw a clip from Gillie. And a lot of y'all know Gillie, at least those who are in hip hop culture, those who are in Black culture, those who are in podcast world. Y'all know Gillie, formerly known as Gillie the Kid, one of my fellow Philadelphians, somebody who goes down in the history books for Philadelphia, repping the city as an artist, as a rapper, as a podcaster, now as a philanthropist, somebody who's really making a mark and has continued to make a mark. Sometimes Gillie will raise a question or raise an issue that's controversial, and it gets people's wheels turning. Sometimes it pisses people off. Sometimes it gets people screaming in agreement. Well, yesterday Gil said something about college that I want to take up, not just because he said it, but because it speaks to a bigger question and a bigger issue in our community and in our society. So I want y'all to check this joint out. I'm gonna play the clip right now. I think I figured out how to do that. You know, your homie, your brother Marc ain't always the best with this tech stuff. So let's see if we can make this thing happen. Let me know if you hear it. Okay, we gonna get it going right now. I'm gonna try that one more time. Here we go.
No, because most of the
Let's see if we
overrated. I need to know because most of the motherfuckers I know that went to college is not successful. So like, is college overrated? And if you go to fuck to college, you should go to college for something that when you fucking graduate, as soon as you graduate, they got a motherfucking check waiting on you. Because college starting to seem like it's over fucking rated out here. I just was talking to a motherfucker that did 6 years in college, but they boss ain't never been to college. How the fuck does that work? You got all these motherfucking degrees, but your boss graduated high school. Get the fuck out of here, man. College is overrated, man, in 2024, man. Motherfuckers I know went to college be struggling like a motherfucker, got all the degrees struggling. That shit overrated, man. Keep it all the way real with you, man. That's what I think. What y'all think? Right.
So Gillie raised a issue, raised a point, and then raised a question. I want to take up all parts of that query that he raised. Right. The first part is college overrated? I would say to Gillie, as somebody who is a respected figure in our community, somebody who the youngins look up to. Every barbershop I go to, every block I'm on, if I say Gillie in Philly, that name rings more than the mayor. That name rings more than most of the Sixers, except maybe Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. You think what I'm saying? Like, his name means something, and his stamp of approval means something. So the first thing I would say to my brother is, while he's not wrong that college is not foolproof, that the dream of college and the narrative about college that they give us is in a lot of ways just untrue. There are a lot of young men out there, especially young Black men and women, but especially young Black men, who are looking to Gillie for advice and insight. And if he goes up there and says, go to college, they're going to go to college, or they're going to think about going to college, or they're going to be more excited about going to college. And if he stands up and says, don't go to college is bullshit, then it gives them an out. It gives them an excuse not to go to college. It gives them an excuse not to go and do the thing that they might need to do to advance their education. So I would just say to my brother with love, like, let's be real careful how we talk about college. Not because I think college is the be all and end all, but because there's a lot of young men out there that are listening and watching and looking to an example. And if those young men were to go to college because Gillie said to, wouldn't be the worst thing they could do. There's a lot of worse choices somebody could make following the example of a rapper or a podcaster or somebody who they or a politician for that matter, or other people who they worship. So I would just say let's keep that in mind to give us some perspective on it. But he raised a really important issue. He said, he said almost everybody I know coming out of college is struggling. So let's think about that for a second. Is he right? Well, I don't know Gillie's personal circle. I can't speak to who he's speaking to. I suspect there's more people in his circle going to college who are doing better than that we might not be thinking of. For example, he has an incredibly lucrative and wonderful podcast deal along with Wallow, who's my brother, who I love a great deal, who I know a lot better. Um, I'm sure a lot of those people who manage the company, people at Barstool, the people who help close deals, the lawyers, the agents, they all went to college and they're doing just fine. Now, a lot of them are probably older. So maybe he's saying in this era is different. But also a lot of those people are white men, and white men got a whole different pathway. They get a whole different hookup. They got a whole different trajectory in this country than black folk do. Black folk got a much harder way to go. And for white people, the American dream of college is one where you go, you find your way, you get out, you get a job, you get married, you get your house, the picket fence, the 2.5 kids, the garage, the whole nine. For black folk, it's a lot harder. It always has been. So I don't want to deny the legitimacy of that claim. It's never that easy. Just go to college and things are going to be okay. But in this economy where everybody's losing jobs, in this economy where everybody is finding it harder and harder for their bills to match their income, everybody's struggling. And does college make it a guarantee that you won't struggle? Absolutely not. But college certainly makes it easier. And so a lot of those people that Gillie's talking about who went to college and are struggling, if they had not gone to college, I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't be struggling worse. So that's part of the conversation we have to have. You're talking to a college professor here, right? So my primary job centers around people going to college. I'm in the college business. I am not unbiased. I'm not neutral in this. But again, I don't think that college is a magic bullet. I just don't think we should dismiss it, especially for black folks, so simple. The next piece of this is, does college match the jobs that people want? There was a time where you went to college and college was like the actually, let me take that back. There was a time when high school was the thing that everybody needed to do. Everybody needed to go to high school. And if in fact in the 60s or 70s when people said, "Oh, I graduated," they meant high school. So if you went to college, you had a leg up. If you went to college, you were gonna write your own ticket. You could get paid. But like everything else in our society, it becomes marketized. In other words, it becomes a profit attached to it. It becomes a competition, and so people are using the credentials not to learn information, not to develop their minds, but to have a credential that they can use to get paid. There's a wonderful books on David Labrie has a wonderful book on Central High School in Philadelphia, which is the oldest American high school. But what it talked about was when Central came out, Central used to give a bachelor's degree. In fact, Central High School still gives a bachelor's degree. But my point is, nobody else had a high school diploma at one point, right? So when you was the only one on the block with a high school diploma, you could write your own ticket. Then the college degree became you could write your own ticket. But then companies said, well, look, if you need a high school diploma, a college degree rather, to be okay, what'd you see? You started to see the online schools. Before the online schools, you saw the write-in schools. Before the write-in schools, you saw all these other models where people were allowing people to get paid. I'm talking about the companies to sell people college. Remember we used to clown ICDC when Lil Romeo and all them was on commercials? Basically, what they were doing was saying, well, look, if college is the thing that gets you on, then we're gonna make sure that everybody has access to college. We don't care how fast it is, how cheap it is, how easy it is to get. We are just going to do college. And so college became the thing. And so what happens now? Now everybody says, well, college is nothing. College is like a high school diploma. So now you need a master's degree. So everybody went and got the master's degree. It used to be if somebody said they had a master's degree, it was impressive. But now what happens? Now every online corporation has a master's degree. Every program has a master's degree. And they're like used car salesmen. 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 18 months, whatever. We can get you in and out. We can get you a master's degree. And so these degrees are meaning less and less. One, because the market is saturated with them. But second, because the people giving them are not interested in teaching you. Education isn't the primary point of these degrees anymore. The point of these degrees is to say you got a degree. So to that extent, Gillie is correct. The degrees are becoming overrated. The degrees are becoming overrated. It doesn't mean that knowledge is overrated. It doesn't mean that education is overrated. But what it does mean is that these degrees don't mean what they used to. They don't mean that a person is brilliant. They don't mean that a person is well educated. They don't mean that a person is thoughtful. They don't mean that a person prepared for the job market. And then what you began to see, in addition to the college degrees in the 90s and 2000, you began to see what? Programs for computer programming, for tech companies, for all kinds of internet engineering. You began to see programs that got you training. In the 90s and in the aughts and in the 2010s, you start to see a lot of programs for nursing where you didn't have to go get an RN. You didn't even need to get an LPN. You could go get a degree in this certification or this thing, this certificate. And so a lot of people were able to get high-paying jobs and meet their bills without going to college. So I could go get a phlebotomy degree or phlebotomy certificate or an EMT certificate, and I could work on the ambulance in 6 months. I could learn phlebotomy in 90 days. Now I'm in the hospital making $50,000, $60,000 a year sometimes, while the person is going through college for 4 years, stacking up loans and debt, and they're not making that happen. So part of it is training in trade schools have to be emphasized. If the goal is to get a living wage, if the goal is to develop skills, if the goal is to figure out what we need to do to be okay, then we can't just dismiss training in trade academies. Side note, Dominique Goodman, shout out to Dominique, wrote something really interesting. She said, I know a lot of doctors these days. You ain't never lied. Because in the same way those high school diplomas and those bachelor's degrees and those master's degrees became an industry, there's a lot of people who are basically selling doctoral degrees. You can get an EDD, a PhD, a PsyD, a ABCD, EFG. You can get whatever you want if you pay enough money. You can get it in 2 years, 3 years, 18 months, whatever, a lot of times online, because again, the degrees are not about the learning anymore. The degrees are often about just obtaining more stuff. Oh, I want to be president of a university, so I need an executive doctorate. So that, oh, I want to be the head of my nonprofit. Oh, they said I need a master's. Oh, they gave me 6 months to get one. Oh, let me go get one real quick. And so it's just about paying enough money to get the piece of paper. That's often the problem. So a whole lot of these people walking around as a doctor, they don't have doctoral level in knowledge. I'll just say, I won't say intelligence. I'll say they don't have the doctoral level knowledge base. I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say. All right. So where do we go from here? Well, I think, again, to go back to what Gillie said for a moment, college is overrated. He said, I know people who have jobs where they make less than their boss who didn't go to college, and the people did go to college. That's often the case. You know, I wouldn't let that be my reason for not going to college, though. But yeah, there are people who start businesses or people who took the long way, right? They may have been in the company for 20 years and they got passed over for promotions and they did other things to get to the top. Whereas the person may come out of college and that person's still their boss, but they might escalate faster. So it's not as simple as just saying, well, you have a boss who didn't go to college, so college doesn't make sense. I think it's more complicated than that. But again, I understand the point. Michelle writes in, Michelle Inwash says, isn't it true that a lot of jobs are getting rid of their degree requirements? Yeah. And you know why they're doing that? Because a lot of jobs that we think need degrees don't. The degree for a long time wasn't really about the training. I'll give you an example. I've worked in industries where they said a college degree is required. They didn't care what the degree was in. So I could be going to manage a marketing company and I got a degree in physical education. I used to manage back in my younger days I used to manage a telemarketing company. I used to manage a telemarketing office, and they wanted a doctorate. No, a lot of people didn't. I mean, sorry, they wanted a bachelor's degree. They didn't want a doctorate. They wanted a bachelor's degree, and a lot of people didn't have them. And what I found was that the reason they were getting the bachelor's degree wasn't for the knowledge, because again, they'll say, we'll take any bachelor's degree. We'll take any bachelor's degree. So what are they really doing? The bachelor's degree isn't about knowing how to do the job. It's about weeding people out. It's about saying, well, we want a certain kind of person. We want a certain class position. We want a person who's had a certain type of experience, a certain kind of life experience I'm talking about, right? And so college doesn't necessarily prepare you for the job that you're applying for. And so a lot of schools, a lot of businesses rather, start to say, you know what, let's stop doing this. Let's just get people who know how to do the job. Let's get people who are experienced and well trained and prepared, instead of pretending that this degree in um in math is going to help you manage a Wendy's, right? Because even at Wendy's, they say, oh, you're gonna have to have it. But then you say, look at the police department, just to give you a counter example, because I think this is interesting. When they said police officers need to have a degree, well, there might be some value to not just grabbing somebody out of high school and giving them a gun and a badge and saying, no, we want somebody who has life experience, someone who's had some intellectual training, someone who's taken a class in psychology, somebody who's taken a class in sociology, somebody who's thought about some shit. There's also a discipline that it takes to finish school. Maybe we want police officers who have discipline. So again, the degree is sometimes not about what you learn per se. It's a proxy for other things like training, discipline, experience, etc. So um, we want to think about this in a different way. Your question mark, man. I see you keep asking the same question over and over again. It's completely off the topic that we're talking about, brother. Brother, I would love to have that conversation with you, just not here. If people are going to have conversations that are completely different than what we're talking about, you're going to have to send what do you call it, a super chat, and then we can go off topic. But otherwise, we can't just go completely off topic. We're talking about college today, my brother. Ricky Kelly said, plumbers, electricians, and other tradesmen are very well paid. That's exactly right. Part of what we bought into is the idea that the only jobs that matter are white collar jobs. Being a plumber, being an electrician, being a mailman, being a mail person, mail carrier, uh, all these are jobs that have dignity and great benefits and great salaries and great stability. And some people will turn their nose up at those jobs and look for a job that has less money and less stability, just to be able to say, I have a white collar job. I got a professional job. I'm not a blue collar Negro. I'm a white collar Negro. That kind of thinking is going to be our downfall. One, we need jobs that are stable and well paying, not jobs that are fancy, entitled. Second, we need plumbers and electricians and tradespeople in our community. We actually need those jobs. We actually need that job. But let's think bigger than just labor for a minute. And this is where Brianna Patton's question comes in. It's so beautiful. Brianna Patton, shout out to you. Thank you for being part of our family. Thank you for this wonderful question. Thank you for the generous donation. She said, didn't W.E.B. Du Bois address this in Souls of Black Folk and say it's a problem that people only go to college for a career and not knowledge? Absolutely. This is the point. Booker T is right. We ran off farms. We needed to hold and apply that knowledge. We needed to keep those skills and use them in the interest of ourselves, not just to build white people's reality, but to build Black folks' reality. Cool, true, facts. But there's also value to knowledge for its own sake. You don't just go to college to get money. You don't go to college just to get a fancy job, although we can't pretend that that doesn't matter. But you can also use college as an opportunity to learn new languages, as an opportunity to meet new people, as an opportunity to build new communities, as an opportunity to look at the world differently. When I went away to Morehouse College my freshman year, when I came back just that December, from August to December, or August till May, whatever, right? The end of that semester, the end of that year, My worldview had shifted. I understood myself differently. I understood Black people differently. I understood my possibilities differently. The whole world changed for me because I went to college. Did I have a better chance of getting a job at that moment? Maybe not. But I had a hell of an opportunity to be a different kind of person. And that was important. That was wonderful. That was beautiful. That was necessary. And that is why we do what we do. So think about college beyond that. And that's why I return to the initial point I made to Gillie. Hit the like button if you agree with what I'm saying, at least some of what I'm saying. Let me know what y'all thinking out there. This is the point that I was making to Gillie in the first place, right? Is there are a bunch of young Black men out here who have to worry about the police. They got to worry about education systems that don't care about them. They got to worry about a world that doesn't love them. And now they're thinking about what to do with their life. And some are thinking about college. And what these brothers need a lot of times is somebody to encourage them to go to college, somebody to say, yo, college is an option. The world don't think you can do it, young man, but you can. The world doesn't think you can be an engineer, young Black woman, but you can. We need somebody to say that. Now, if Gillie's saying, yeah, but college is still overrated, it doesn't prepare you for the labor market the way people thought, people think they're going to get big bread when they get out and they're not, he's right. But then what we should be doing is also offering an alternative. So I wouldn't just say college is overrated. I said, look, college is overrated, but this is why y'all need to get a skill. You need to get a certification in something. You need to learn a trade. You need to develop something, because the problem is we're in a world where everybody wants to be an influencer, where everybody wants to get rich quick. Most people don't have Gillie or Wallow's talent. Most people don't have their work ethic. Most people don't have their resources or their luck. My dear brother Wallow came home after doing a long stretch and was able to get in the mix because he planned, because he organized, because he worked hard, because he had a radical dream and he was relentless. But he also had some connections and some hookups. And most brothers who get out of prison don't have that. But if they got a trade, they can hit the ground running. They can go to a construction site. They can go get a job as a plumber. They can go work somewhere if they develop that skill. So all I'm saying is, yes, we can, if we're going to say college is overrated, I'm with you. Universities are hustles. Colleges are bullshit in lots of ways. But then let's replace that with an alternative so that people don't use that as their excuse to hit the block, or their excuse to just say, oh, I'm going to get rich rapping, or I'm going to flip houses when I don't have the resources or the real estate knowledge, right? All these things that people sometimes that I meet, when I talk to young folk who say they want to do these big things. If that's what you want to do, fine, but you need training and preparation, even if you don't go to college. So sure, in the final analysis, I do think college is overrated, but I also think college is valuable. I think college is necessary. I think college is an opportunity to learn, to think and grow and change the world. But I also want to add, again, college isn't for everybody. But if college isn't for you, something else is. And we who are saying college is overrated also have to offer these young brothers and sisters an opportunity and a resource and a direction beyond that. And we got to say, look, it's overrated, but here's this other thing too. That makes sense? All right, family, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Wallow. Shout out to Gillie. Love what y'all doing on $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. Y'all are doing amazing things. I'm so proud of y'all. Love y'all. So happy to say that y'all are from Philly. So happy to say we share this wonderful city together. Hopefully I'll see y'all soon. Everybody hit the like button. Hit the like button if you feel what I'm saying. Also, hit the subscribe button. We're going into 2024 with new energy. We're coming up on the Marc Lamont Hill official channel, trying to build this platform out. We're building this platform out. And the way we build this platform out is by having people who don't just come and check out the pages, but who hit the like button, people who hit the subscribe button. And of course, our family who hit the join button, people like Bad Lefty. Shout out to Bad Lefty. Thank you for hitting that join button a while back and becoming part of the MLH family. Kenna H, thank you for doing that. I appreciate who y'all are and what y'all are doing when y'all come out on the page and join. So hit the join button, become part of MLH family. It allows us to build the platform. It allows us to grow and expand content. It allows us to add more things. Speaking of adding more things, we added the Mumia Abu Jamal podcast to this channel. So me and Mumia Abu Jamal have a podcast called The Classroom in the Cell. Go to the MLH official and check it out. Also, Check out other content. Right now, one of the hottest videos on the page is 5 myths about Israel and Palestine debunked. Again, it's called Debunked, 5 myths about Israel and Palestine. Check that video out. Check our content about everything that's been going on in the world, from Diddy and TD Jakes to Palestine and Nikki Haley. We're covering all the bases. We're covering every gamut of the world that y'all care about. And just other content that y'all want covered, just let me know. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and let's keep building. And once again, happy 2024. Happy New Year. Love y'all. Peace.